Now, Iran and Israel continuing to launch attacks against each other as global tensions rise after President Trump ordered punishing strikes on Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend. Alice Barr takes a look at the political and economic fallout.
This morning, amid the fallout over U.S. airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites, key questions remain, including the extent of the damage.
The strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Pentagon officials say it's too soon to know for sure. B-2 bombers are back home at their Missouri base as we get a first look at the Iranian targets struck, before and after images showing the massive impact on one of the nuclear facilities. And the looming question, how will Iran respond? President Trump promising far greater force if Iran does retaliate. Vice President Vance framing the U.S. strikes as a limited move aimed at pushing Iran toward peace.
We're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program.
While President Trump posted, quote, "If the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?" That's a shift from his administration's messaging so far.
This mission was not and has not been about regime change.
And could add to concerns for many Republicans, uneasy with another prolonged U.S. Middle East entanglement. GOP Representative Thomas Massie openly criticizing the president's move.
He promised us which we would put America first.
President Trump vowing to campaign against Massie, who joined many Democrats questioning whether the strikes were constitutional without congressional approval. Now, as anti-war protests break out across the U.S., huge billboards in Israel thanking President Trump.
And that was Alice Barr reporting. Now, the Department of Homeland Security issuing a new warning about heightened security threats inside the U.S. from Iran. The Trump administration is promising increased surveillance as well. We'll bring you the latest updates related to the conflict in Iran and Israel and how it will affect you right here at home. Tune in to WRAL News starting at 4 this afternoon, running until 7:30 this evening.
First, those secretive strikes, now the potential fallout. NBC News has learned, according to 2 U.S. officials, that Iran conveyed a private message to President Trump through an intermediary during last week's G7 summit, just days before the president ordered the U.S. attack, warning that if the president launched airstrikes, Iran would respond by unleashing terrorist attacks on the U.S., by activating sleeper cells it said it had in this country. President Trump, while announcing the strikes, delivered this stern warning to the Iranian regime.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
This morning, we're getting a look at the nuclear sites targeted inside Iran. These before and after images show the massive impact of the U.S. attack on Isfahan, one of the 3 Iranian nuclear facilities hit. Satellite images also show the strikes leaving holes at the other 2 nuclear sites.
All 3 sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction.
The president earlier going further.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Pentagon officials say it's too soon to tell. It comes as the Trump administration is emphasizing that the attack was intended as a limited one-time strike.
We're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program.
The nuclear sites targeted Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordo, buried deep beneath a mountain. The U.S. deploying 14 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs for the first time in a military operation. U.S. submarines firing Tomahawk missiles to hit the Isfahan site. In all, 125 U.S. warplanes and 75 precision-guided munitions used. While the president's VP, Secretary of State, and Defense Secretary say the plan is not to overturn the government.
We don't want a regime change.
This wasn't a regime change move.
This mission was not and has not been about regime change.
President Trump's now leaving the door open to that happening, posting, if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? With protesters gathering outside the White House and in Times Square, many Democratic lawmakers and at least 2 Republicans coming out against the president's strikes.
We are tired from all of these wars.